All right, everybody. This is going to be the second in the round 2 of May Madness. And it's going to be the Phillies and the Mets, the 1993 Phillies and the 1986 Mets. Two pitchers you see there in the box, Curt Schilling and Ron Darling. And we're going to get ready to go here with the first pitch. We'll do the lineups as they come up. Again, the only thing that's a little bit interesting in this is that for both teams, the leadoff hitter and center fielder is going to be Lenny Dykstra. So he has a chance to fly out to himself or throw himself out on the bases, depending on the situation. So the Mets are the home team based on their higher seed. So Ron Darling's in the box. We are ready to go. And hey, Mungo Jerry, we are ready to go here. Lenny Dykstra will lead off against Ron Darling, and this round 2 game between the number 1 seed Mets and the number 8 seed Phillies is now underway. We get a 5-4. 5-4 Darling against a lefty. That's a 1-9 home run. And Dykstra does have normal power, so 1-9, he's got a homer. 10-20, it's a double. And it's a 6. So Lenny Dykstra, the Phillies variety of Lenny Dykstra, has just homered to lead off the ball game against Ron Darling. Hello, Derek. So Dykstra getting this game in underway. Hello, Steve Ryan. As Dykstra, the Philly variety, has homered off of Darling to start the game. This is a 3-10, so we'll look at Morandini, second place hitter, 3-10 against a righty. He's going to ground it out to Keith Hernandez at first base. 1 away. And that'll bring up the first baseman, John I Am Not a Crook. I marked the pitcher from the tabletop wing, by the way. Very good. All right, very good. 5-6. 5-6 is off of Darling, and Crook's a lefty. So that's a single to right field. So Darling not doing so well as John Crook delivers a 1-out single. Brings up Dave Hollins, the cleanup hitter and third baseman. And that's a 5-7. Darling's getting a lot of results off his own cards, but it's not helping him. That column 5 is killing him. Again, we're in column 5. This time it's a number 7. So it's a ground ball shortstop X. And the shortstop, Rafael Santana, is a 2. But that's a 1. So the D20 is killing him here. And a shortstop, a number 2 rated shortstop with a number 1 on the D20 is a single with 1 star. So Hollins gets a base hit. Crook will go to second. Runners at first and second. With only 1 out for Dutch, Darren Dalton. He'll be stepping to the plate. Darling, again, I've rolled another white 5. I don't know how many times in a row I've done that. 5-5 again. That's the bad column for Darling, so he's off to a rough start here. 1-12 is a double. 13-20 will be a single with 2 stars. So it's going from bad to worse for Darling. That's a 4. That's a double with 2 stars. So Dalton doubles. Crook will score. And Hollins will go to third. So 2 runs are already in. Runners at second and third. Only 1 out. And Jim Eisenreich, the batter. Infield's going to play the end because they can't afford to give up any more runs. They've already given up 2. It's a 2-7, so finally something off the batter card. But it's a single. 2-7 for Eisenreich is a single with 2 stars. That'll drive in both Hollins and Dalton, and the Phillies have jumped on Ron Darling by the score of 4-0 before he even gets warmed up. Bullpen could be going early for the Mets. Pete Incaviglia steps to the plate with Eisenreich at first and 1 out. It's a 4-10. So against a righty, 4-10, Darling comes back with a strikeout. Not unusual for Incaviglia to strike out. That's 2 away. And Kevin Stocker, the shortstop, number 8 hitter, switch hitter, 3-7 against the righty Darling. 3-7's a ground ball to second. That's going to finally end this first inning. But the Phillies erupt for 4 runs here in this top of the first. And giving Curt Schilling a nice cushion to work with. And he'll be facing the Mets version of Lenny Dykstra. Now, the Phillies version of Dykstra led off the game with a home run, so see if the Mets version can do any better. 3-2. 3-2. He's going to foul out to the catcher, Dalton. So that version of Dykstra did not do as well. One away for Wally Backman, or as Chris Berman used to call him, Wally Backman Turner Overdrive. All right, it's 5-7, and he's a switch hitter, so Schilling 5-7 against a lefty. Fly ball to center, and Backman flies to Dykstra for out number 2. That'll bring up Keith Hernandez. That's a 3-4 for Hernandez against a righty. It's ground ball to third because we're not doing ballparks, so it's just simply a ground ball to third. And Schilling goes 1-2-3 on the Mets, as the Phillies have a commanding, what seems like a commanding 4-0 lead after 1 inning. And the Mets bullpen, they're not going to be able to let Darling go too much longer if he's going to struggle like this. Rick Aguilera is in their bullpen already. He was a starter / semi-reliever, so he could be coming in early if Darling continues to struggle. Here's Milt Thompson, number 9 hitter, left fielder. 6'6". 6'6", a line out to second, so Darling at least gets the benefit there of a line out. Hey, Ken Castro, how you doing? Here's Lenny Dykstra, Philly variety. It's a 2-5. 2-5 for Dykstra. It will be a single to right field, so he is homered and singled in 2 innings. He is also a double-A stealer, so he's looking to run to add insult to injury. And a double-A stealer starts out with a 17. When he's being held on, you reduce by 2. That makes him a 15. And then the catcher, in this case, Carter, is a 0. So it's a 1-15 for Dykstra. He's going to try it. It's a 20, so Carter threw him out. Gary Carter guns him down, and that's a caught stealing. 2-6 for out number 2. All right, so Dykstra trying to get greedy, gets thrown out. 2 out, space is empty for Morandini. It's a 2-10. And Morandini is going to ground out to Darling to end the inning. So Darling comes back, redeems himself here in this inning. It's still 4-0 though, so still got their work cut out for him, do the Mets. Here's Schilling back out top facing Darryl Strawberry, cleanup hitter. It's a 3-7 for Strawman, and he's going to strike out. So Strawberry with the K. 1 away for the kid, Gary Carter. Carter is 6'8". 6'8" is going to be a fly ball to right field B. So handled out there by Eisenreich for out number 2. And that brings up the DH, Kevin Mitchell. Mitchell, a 4'6", right-hander. Ground ball to third and handled by Hollins. And again, Schilling goes 1-2-3 and keeps the Mets at bay. So we go to the third. It's still 4-0 Phillies. And John Kruk will lead things off. He singled and scored his first time. 1-8. 1-8 for Kruk. And he's going to do it again. 1-8. 1-4 is a homer. 5-20 will be a double. So damage done by Kruk here in the third position. That's a 14, so that is going to be a double. So a leadoff double for John Kruk to get things going here in the top of the third. That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Dave Hollins. It's a 1-9 for Hollins. A 1-9 is a fly ball left field, and that's 1 away. Handled out there by Mookie Wilson. So 1 away for Darren Dalton. Dutch, he doubled in 2 runs. Or I'm sorry, he doubled in a run last time. So 3-6. 3-6 for Dalton is a strikeout. So that time, Darling got him for out number 2 as he's trying to pitch out around that leadoff double. Here's Eisenreich. He had that 2-run single first time up. 6-6 against a lefty. He's going to line it to second, and Backman will handle it. And we seem to have settled down a little bit now after that rough top of the first. Still 4-0 though, so Mets have their work cut out for them, and they'll be facing Curt Schilling again for Ray Knight. Ray Knight. 3-7 for Knight, and he's going to strike out. So Ray Knight will grab some bench, as Hawk Harrelson would say, or he gone, as Tenacious likes to say. Here's Rafael Santana. 110 for Santana. 110 is going to be a ground ball to the pitcher, so Schilling making easy work of the 86 Mets. Make it look like child's play. Here's number 9 hitter Mookie Wilson. And that's a 5-6 against a lefty. That's a ground ball to second, handled by Morandini. And Schilling is perfect through 3 innings. So we go to the 4th. It's still 4-0. Both pitchers have 7 as their fatigue rating, but Darling has already given up 4 runs. So if he gives up 6, then he will definitely have to get out of there. Here's Incavilla. He did strike out his first time up. Nothing new for Inky. 6-4. 6-4 is a catcher X. And that's going to be Gary Carter. And Gary Carter, as a catcher, is a 1. And that's a 4. So if we check the catcher rating 1 and a 4, that's a wild pitch and a pop-up, but there's nobody on base, so it's simply going to be a pop-up by Incavilla to Carter for 1 away. And that'll bring up shortstop Kevin Stocker, switch hitter, 2-4. And look at this, Stocker, he's got a 1-14 home run chance. He only hit 2 all year, but he's got a chance right here, 1-14 for a homer. And if it's not a homer, it'll be a triple, 15-20. It's a 1, so Kevin Stocker, little Kevin Stocker goes yard. It's now 5-0 Phillies. And that'll bring up Milt Thompson. 4-8. 4-8 against Darling is a strikeout. He has not reached his fatigue rating, so the strikeout is good for out number 2. Back to the top of the order for the Philly version of Lenny Dykstra. Still waiting for him to fly to himself. 3-7. 3-7 is a ground ball to second, and that's going to end the inning. But Kevin Stocker, unlikely home run hitter, puts one in the seats. And we go to the bottom of the 4th. Still, it's now 5-0 Phillies, and here comes the Mets version of Lenny Dykstra. It's a 4-4 against Schilling. That's a ground ball third base X. Now that's bad news because Hollins, the third baseman, is a 4 rated third baseman. Hey Beatles, a 4 rated third baseman and a 12 is probably going to be an error check. It is. And Hollins, with his error rating, is a 33, so that's obviously not good. That's a 5. So a 33 and a 5, that's a 1 base error. So an E5 will put Dykstra on the base paths. You would think about running, but he's already been thrown out as a Philly. Do you want to get thrown out as a Met when you're down 5-0? So Wally Backman's going to step to the plate. Wally Backman. It's a 4-7, and that's a strikeout for Schilling for out number 1. Now they bring up Keith Hernandez. Hernandez, a 2-9. 2-9 for Hernandez. A 1-11 will be a single. 12-20 is a line out to second. That's a 14, so that is a line out to the second baseman Morandini for out number 2. Brings up the straw man, Darryl Strawberry. And we've got a 2-11 for Strawberry. 2-11 for Strawberry is a single to left field, and that breaks up the no-hitter. Base hit, and we'll move Dykstra to second base with the ball hit to third. They're not going to, or hit to left. They're not going to try to send him to third. So runners at first and second with 2 outs for Gary Carter. And the mystique of the no-hitter is no longer out there. Here's Carter. What am I doing rolling this? I was thinking I was rolling the D20. My bad. I'll get things straight in a minute. Here is Carter, 4-10 against Schilling. That's a fly ball to center, and that's going to end the inning. And nothing doing for the Mets. So we've completed 4, and it's a 5-0 lead for the Phillies. And Rick Aguilera will be coming in for Darling. They've seen enough of Darling. Davey Johnson doesn't want to see any more. So Rick Aguilera is the new pitcher. He'll be facing Mickey Morandini to start things off. Morandini is 6'9", so he's a lefty. 6'9", and he's going to double off of Aguilera right off the bat. So he greets Aguilera with a double. And Aguilera not faring any better than Darling did. Could be quick work for number 1 seed. Here's John Kruk. 4-2. 4-2 is a fly ball to right field. And that's out number 1. So 1 away for the cleanup hitter, Dave Hollins. And Hollins a 5'8". He's a switch hitter, batting left. 5'8's a strikeout. So Rick Aguilera gets a big strikeout there. 2 down. And Darren Dalton Dutch is up. That's a 5-7 for Aguilera. Ground ball second base X. That is Wally Backman. And Backman's a 3. And that's a 9, which is most likely an error check. And it is. So Wally Backman, his error rating is a 30. So not good there either. That's a 6. So an E30 and a 6 is a 1-base error. So Backman boots it. E4, that will move Morandini over to third. So 2 outs and runners at the corners for Jim Eisenreich, who's already had 2 RBIs with a single back in the first. That's a 5-5. That's a ground ball second base C, and that's going to end the inning as Aguilera gets out of trouble. So we go to the bottom of the 5th. Still a 5-0 ball game. Schilling just on cruise control right here. We facing the DH Kevin Mitchell, and Mitchell grounded to third his first time up. It's a 4-4, so we're off of Schilling against a righty. 4-4 is a ground ball third base X. Again, that's not good because third baseman Hollins is a 4-rated third baseman. And that's a 16. He might catch a break there. A 16 on a 4 is a ground ball B, so Hollins is able to barely make that play. Mitchell is out, 1 away for Ray Knight, otherwise known as Nancy Lopez's husband. 4-5, 4-5. Fly ball to center for Schilling, and Knight flies to Dykstra for out number 2. Here's Rafael Santana. Santana, 2-7 against a righty. 2-7's a fly to left, and that's going to end the inning. So the ball inning is over after 5 complete. It's 5-0 Phillies. And I'm sorry for you guys not having a closer game. I like to have close games on these videos, but there are still 4 innings left and anything can happen, so have to play it out. All right, here's Incaviglia. Pete Incaviglia, 1-8. And he's going to strike out just like Incaviglia knows how to do. So a strikeout there. He only struck out, he struck out 82 times and 368 at-bats that year. So here's Kevin Stocker, switch hitter, 111 against Aguilera, and he's going to ground to second. So maybe Aguilera bringing some stabilization to the pitching of the Mets. We'll bring up Milt Thompson. He's 0 for 2, number 9 hitter, 3-7 for Thompson. Ground ball to short, and that's going to end the inning. So 1-2-3 inning. That's the first time that's happened. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. Bottom of the 6th. Phillies still enjoying that 5-0 lead thanks to Schilling and his pitching. Bring up Mookie Wilson. He will lead off, the number 9 hitter. It's a 5-7. 5-7's a fly to center, so Mookie Wilson flies to Dykstra. I'm still waiting for Dykstra to fly to Dykstra, but we'll see if I can get that to happen. Here's Lenny, and that's a 4-11. 4-11 against the lefty is a single to center field, so Lenny Dykstra getting the second Mets hit of the game. And that'll bring up Wally Backman. It's a 2-8. 2-8 for Backman. 2-8's a ground ball third base B. That's a force play. So Backman will reach on the fielder's choice, and Dykstra is out 5-4. Out number 2. And I'll bring up Keith Hernandez. It's a 5-6 against Schilling. Ground ball to second, and that's going to do it as Morandini will make the play. And Schilling just on a roll. So after 6 complete, the score is the Phillies 5 and the Mets nothing. Aguilera back out for another inning of relief. And it'll be the Philly version of Lenny Dykstra to lead things off. He's homered and singled and grounded to second. And we get a 4-4. And he has a chance to do it. 4-4 on Rick Aguilera is a fly ball center field X. So if the Lenny Dykstra version of the Mets makes the play, then Lenny Dykstra will have flied out to himself. So the Lenny Dykstra of the Mets is a 2. That's a 2. That might drop in, though, so he may not be able to catch his own fly ball. We'll see. A 2 and a 2 is a single with 2 stars, so I thought we had it, but he couldn't quite reach it. So that's the 3rd hit of the game for Lenny Dykstra of the Phillies. Here's Mickey Morandini. They're not going to steal up 5-0. They'll go ahead and lay off. 3-7. 3-7's a single to left field for Morandini. And that puts runners at first and second with nobody out. And that'll bring up John Kruk, who's had a good day, 2 for 3, single and a double. 6-12. 6-12 is a fly ball to left field, and that's a 1 away. 1 out. And that'll bring up Dave Hollins, the cleanup hitter, switch hitter, 6-11. That's a fly ball right field X. The right fielder is Strawberry, and Darryl Strawberry is a 2-rated right fielder. And that's a 6, so it should be a good play. 2 and a 6 is a fly ball B, so it is a good play. 2 down for Dutch, Darren Dalton. That's a 1-8 for Dalton. 1-8 is a pop-up to the shortstop, Santana. And that's going to end the inning. Nothing doing for the Phillies, as Aguilera has shown good relief work. And we got the 7th inning stretch. And it's still the Phillies 5 and the Mets nothing. I'm going to take a quick, maybe 30-second breather here and give anybody a chance that wants to ask me a question or comment about something. I'll field those questions now, or else I'll just go ahead and get started to finish up the ball game here in a few minutes. Looks like the Mets are going to have the bullpen going again. Jesse Orosco will be loosening to come in the 8th inning, possibly for Aguilera, depending on, it looks like with the lineup for the Phillies, they have some lefties coming, so Orosco is going to be the guy. Schilling's still going strong through 7, or he's got a relief rating of 7 before he hits fatigue, and the way he's going, he may be able to pitch a complete game. You never know. We'll wait and see. All right, so with that preamble of the 7th inning stretch out of the way, we go back to Darryl Strawberry to lead things off here in the bottom of the 7th. Phillies holding a 5-0 lead. It's 3-4, and that's going to be a walk to Darryl Strawberry. So that's 1 notch on the point of weakness against Schilling with that walk. That'll bring up Gary Carter, the kid. And the kid is a 2-2. 2-2 is a home run. Gary Carter just launched a 2-run homer. No doubter off of Schilling, and Schilling definitely, all of a sudden, just like he blew a tire, he is quickly approaching his point of weakness. So the Phillies have bullpen action of their own going right now. And it looks like they are going to turn to, or get ready to turn to, David West, the lefty. But they're going to keep Schilling in there for at least one more batter. And he's going to be facing Kevin Mitchell. But right now it's a 5-2 ball game, so it's starting to get interesting. It's a 2-8 for Mitchell. 2-8's a walk, and now Schilling, that's the 3rd consecutive batter to reach by hit or walk, and Schilling has now officially reached his point of weakness. So he could be out there very shortly, but they're going to give him one more batter because he's facing the righty Ray Knight. It's a 2-7 against Knight, and that's another walk. So that's going to do it for Schilling. They can't go any longer. He's just all of a sudden lost it. So Schilling will be gone, and with the right-hander still coming up, they're not going to go to West. They're going to go to Larry Anderson. So Larry Anderson, the righty, will be the new Phillies pitcher. As Schilling was going along smoothly, but hit that 7th just like hitting turbulence, and he just lost it all of a sudden. So Larry Anderson is in, and he'll be facing Rafael Santana. But you know what? Looks like the Mets are going to go to a pinch hitter. They're not going to let the weak-hitting Santana in there. They want some offense. So they're going to go to Danny Heap. Danny Heap's going to pinch hit for Santana. And after he leaves, they're going to go put Howard Johnson in at short. I know it's going to cost them because Howard Johnson is a 4 and a 48, but they need offense. So they're going to take that gamble. So Danny Heap's going to pinch hit for Santana, and then Howard Johnson's going to take over at short. So Danny Heap, big situation here, facing Larry Anderson. with 2 on and nobody out in a 5-2 game. So here's Danny Heap, the pinch hitter. It's a 5-8 against Anderson, and that's a ground ball to second. X, that's Morandini. Morandini is a 3 rated second baseman, and that's a 12, which is probably an error check, which it is, and Morandini's error rating is an 8. He's an E8, and that's a 7. So we'll check second baseman E8 and a 7. That's a ground ball A. So I'm sorry, look at E5. E8, number 7 is still a ground ball A. So a double play grounder helps out quite a bit. A 4-6-3 double play. For quickly 2 outs, Mitchell does take third. But now with 2 outs, so Danny Heap failed in his quest to get the game closer. So Mookie Wilson will step in now with a runner at third and 2 outs. 1-9 for Wilson is a fly to right, and that's going to end the inning. So Larry Anderson came in and put the kibosh on anything else the Mets had ideas about. Holds them to 2 runs, so it's a 5-2 ball game. And Aguilera's pitching so well, you hate to take him out, but Orozco is their top reliever. So Jesse Orozco will be coming in. It's not a save situation, but if you want to save yourself for the game to try to keep it close, you best put your best pitcher out there. So Jesse Orozco is in, and he'll be facing Jim Eisenreich, the right fielder, to lead things off. Lefty on lefty matchup. It's a 4-5 for Orozco. 4-5, unfortunately for Orozco, he's going to get dinged for a hit. 1-6 is a double. 7-20 is a single. That's an 8, so it's a single. So a leadoff single for Eisenreich. Eisenreich with a single. Brings up Pete Incaviglia. 5-6. 5-6 is a strikeout. Even the pitcher card knows who's batting. It's a strikeout. Incaviglia with the hat trick. He's got 3 strikeouts in this game. Out number 1 for Kevin Stocker, the shortstop. Switch hitter batting right this time. 6-9. 6-9 is a pop out to the shortstop, the new shortstop, Howard Johnson. And he will make the play for out number 2. Brings up Milt Thompson, another lefty. But they want to keep him in there for defense because they are in the lead. They don't want to pinch hit with subpar defenders. 2-10 for Thompson against a lefty is a ground ball second base C. That's going to end the inning. And so Orozco keeps them right where they needed to be for this 8th inning. And now we go to the bottom of the 8th. And with lefties coming up for the Mets, the Phillies will go to their lefty setup guy, David West. He will come in and be the new pitcher to pitch here in the bottom of the 8th. And he'll be facing the top of the order, Dykstra, Backman, and Hernandez, although Backman may be pinch hit for with Tim Tuffle. So right now it's Dykstra. Lefty on lefty. It's a 5-4. 5-4 is a catcher X. That's Darren Dalton. And Dalton's a 3. And that's a 17. So a 17 on a catcher. 17 and a 3 is a pass ball and a foul out, but nobody's on base. So obviously it's just a foul out. So 1 away. And big person to keep off the bases. Steve, the score is 5-2 in the bottom of the 8th. Hello, Al. How you doing? It's 5-2, 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. And Wally Backman is going to be sent back. And the pinch hitter is going to be Tim Tuffle. He often platooned with Backman and played against lefties. So Tim Tuffle will come in and he'll take over at second base as well in the top of the 9th. So Tim Tuffle, pinch hitting, righty against West. It's a 6-3. And he's got a 1 for a single. Anything else is a line out to Hollins at third. It's an 11, so it's a line out to Hollins at third. And that's 2 away as Tim Tuffle fails in his pinch hitting duties. That'll bring up Keith Hernandez now with 2 outs and the base is empty. And we've got a 2-12. 2-12 for Hernandez against a lefty. 2-12 is a fly to center. And that's going to end the inning. So nothing doing for the Mets. We've completed 8. And the score is still the Mets 5 and the Phillies 2. And the wild thing, Mitch Williams is loosening in the Philly bullpen to try to close it out in the bottom of the 9th. But right now, we've got the top of the ninth, and we're looking at Lenny Dykstra, the Phillies version, against Orozco, lefty on lefty. That is a 2-6. 2-6, and Lenny Dykstra has singled. That's the fourth hit for Lenny Dykstra. It's his fourth hit of the ball game. That'll bring up Mickey Morandini. Morandini swinging away, not bunting, swinging away. 111 against a lefty. 111 is a ground ball first base C, so that's going to act like a sacrifice because all Keith Hernandez can do is take it to the bag himself. Dykstra will move to second. He's in scoring position now for John Kruk. Kruk 6-5 against the lefty is a strikeout. Orozco got him. So Kruk is gone. 2 down. For switch hitter Dave Hollins. Dave Hollins batting right-handed now against the lefty Orozco. 1-7. 1-7 is a single with 2 stars. Single with 2 stars, and that will score Dykstra. And a big insurance run there does take the save out of the equation for Mitch Williams, but I don't think the Phillies care about that. It's now 6-2. And here's Darren Dalton. That is a 2-5 for Dalton against the lefty. Actually, that's a leaner, so I'm going to do like Tenacious does and re-roll that. I'm not going to let that leaner go. I'm going to re-roll it. 4-9 against the lefty. 4-9 is a strikeout for Orozco, so that's going to end the inning. And the Phillies get that important insurance run. Lead at 6-2 as we go to the bottom of the ninth. And the wild thing, Mitch Williams, the wild thing, he had 43 saves on the season in 1993. He will be in, and he'll be facing Strawberry, Carter, and Mitchell, with the Phillies leading 6-2 in the bottom of the ninth. Here's Strawberry, lefty on lefty against Mitch Williams. 4-6, and that's a strikeout. Mitch Williams blew it by him. 1 away, so we're in danger of yet another one seed biting the dust. Here's Gary Carter. The 75 Reds already bit the dust in the first round. It's a 5-11 against a righty. That's a single to center field, so Gary Carter keeps things going with a base hit. Here now is Kevin Mitchell, the DH. That's a 2-11. So a 2-11 against a lefty is a home run. How about that? Mitch Williams greeted by Kevin Mitchell, a 2-run shot. And all of a sudden it's getting interesting again. It is now 6-4 here in the bottom of the ninth. And the Philly faithful may be a little bit nervous. Here's Ray Knight. 6-6 against Mitch Williams. He comes back with a strikeout. It's feast or famine for him as he strikes out Ray Knight. So 2 down, and now it's Howard Johnson who took over at short for Santana. So Howard Johnson, his first at bat. Switch hitter. 5-6 against Mitch Williams is another strikeout, and that's the ball game. Mitch Williams gave up a 2-run homer, but he did strike out the side. No save involved, obviously, but it's a 6-4 win for the Phillies as they now advance. So the Phillies upset that number 1 seed Mets, and the 93 Phillies, as we look at the bracket now, the 93 Phillies advance over the 86 Mets. They will await the winner of the 77 Yankees and the 1990 Oakland A's in the Sweet 16. So the Phillies upset the number 1 seed New York Mets, largely in part to that big 4-run first inning that they had. And the Mets will go back and scratch their heads to figure out what happened. And the Phillies will celebrate. The one thing I almost got done but couldn't get done was to have Lenny Dykstra fly to himself. Came close one time on an X check, but it fell in for a double. So couldn't quite make that happen. That would have been interesting. But that just didn't work out that way. So a round 2 game is in the book. ETA for Final Four. Well, I'm hoping to get, I'm going to play a lot of things offline, and my goal is to do like I did last year and get the finals going right around right around Memorial Day. So I'm hoping to get the Sweet 16 done by sometime next week, so that next weekend I do have some time to play next Saturday. So I plan on playing maybe a couple of games in the Sweet 16 at that point. But it all depends on schedule and so forth. But, you can make plans, but then sometimes plans are made for you depending on what's going on. So you never know. But that's what my long-range goal is on that. But we shall see. But I do appreciate you guys watching. I know I just put out a video a few minutes, maybe about an hour ago or so, about History Maker Baseball and previewing this game. So I know some of you may not have seen that yet, so it's going to be a little bit weird because I talk about this game in that video. But I had the time to sneak this in, so I wanted to do that. And somebody had asked why I hadn't done a video in a while, and I said, well, I'm getting around to one. But so here it is. But I guess the alternative is better than the alternative where they ask me why I keep doing videos. I'd rather have people ask me why I haven't done one in a while than ask me why I keep doing them. So I guess that's a good sign if you think about it that way. So it's about a little bit past 5:30, and it's time for me to head home. Play this right after work, but I'm trying to let the 5 o'clock traffic die down a little bit, so I figured it's a good time to fit this in. I do appreciate all you guys watching and following this along. And if you haven't done it yet, please check out the video I put out about an hour or so ago, where I have an update on History Maker Baseball and also this May Madness tournament. And stay tuned. I'm assuming one of the Earls will put out a video here shortly on their channel, and please check that out and make sure you patronize that channel as well because they do such a great job. And that's going to do it from here. A final score again: the Phillies hang on to win by the final score of 6-4, knocking off the number 1 seed New York Mets, and they'll advance to the Sweet 16. And thank you all you guys for watching and commenting and all that good stuff, and makes it more entertaining for me to have a little back and forth as I'm going. So hopefully that game turned out all right. At least it's a little bit closer than what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be a blowout there at first. It was 4-0 in the first, but at least it did kind of whittle its way down to be respectable. So until next time, not sure when the next time is going to be, but we'll figure something out. I will see everybody down the road.